Listen, building strong faith in God isn't like something that just happens overnight. It's a journey, man. A process of growing deeper in trust, understanding, and that real relationship with Him. See, faith isn't just about, like, believing God exists. It's about relying on Him in every season, even when nothing makes sense. A lot of people struggle with faith because they think it should be easy. But nah, just like a muscle, faith has to be exercised to get stronger. It's built through experiences, challenges, and those daily choices to trust God more. You know, one of the biggest foundations of strong faith is actually knowing who God really is. A lot of people have faith, but it's kind of based on this incomplete or distorted view of Him. Some think He's distant or like harsh and unpredictable. Others, they just see Him as someone who gives them stuff. But real faith, that grows when you actually get it. When you understand that God is loving, faithful, and unchanging. And man, the more you know His character, the easier it is to trust Him. That's why, honestly, spending time in Scripture is huge. The Bible isn't just, some religious book. It's God revealing Himself to us. Prayer is another essential key to strengthening faith. A lot of people only pray when they're in crisis, but true faith? It's built through consistent, honest communication with God. Prayer isn't just about, like, asking for things. It's about drawing close to Him, learning to hear His voice, and surrendering your fears and desires. When you pray regularly, you start to experience God in these personal ways, and that makes your faith grow naturally. Even when you don't feel anything, staying faithful in prayer keeps your connection with God strong. Faith is really tested in those tough times. It's easy to trust God when, everything's just flowing. But real faith? That's proven when life hits hard. When you're going through hardships, man, you've got a choice. Either let doubt take over or choose to believe that God is still in control. Every challenge, it's actually an opportunity to strengthen your faith. Just think about it. Those moments when God has come through for you before. When you remember His past faithfulness, it just makes it easier to trust Him right now. One of the most powerful ways to build faith, it's all about who you surround yourself with. The people you spend time with, man, they shape your mindset and beliefs. If you're constantly around negativity, doubt, or worldly influences, your faith, it's going to weaken. But when you connect with people who are, like, passionate about God, who speak life and truth into you, your faith, it just naturally gets stronger. That's why, honestly, being part of a church or a faith-based community is huge. It keeps you grounded and inspired. Obedience? That's a huge part of strong faith. A lot of people want to experience God's power, but yet when it comes to actually obeying His word, they hesitate. Faith isn't just about, like, believing. It's about acting on what you believe. When you step out in obedience, even when it feels uncomfortable, you start seeing God move in ways you never even imagined. And the more you trust and obey Him, the more confident you become in His faithfulness. Faith without action, it's just a concept. But faith with obedience? Man, that's life-changing. Gratitude? People, it's a game changer when it comes to strengthening faith. When you actually focus on what God has already done in your life, it just builds this deep confidence in what He's going to do next. A lot of people struggle with faith because they're always locked in on what's missing, what's wrong, or what hasn't happened yet. But when you start intentionally thanking God for His goodness, your whole perspective shifts. Instead of sitting in doubt, you develop this heart that just expects good things from Him. Gratitude fuels faith, man. And it helps you see God's hand moving in your life every single day. patience. It's probably one of the hardest parts of faith, but it's essential. A lot of people struggle with faith because they expect instant answers from God. But faith isn't about immediate results. It's about trusting God's timing. Sometimes God allows delays to build our character, deepen our trust, or prepare us for something greater. When you learn to wait on God without losing hope, your faith reaches a whole new level of maturity. And honestly, the waiting season, that's usually where faith gets built the strongest. Faith grows when you step outside your comfort zone. If you only trust God in the areas where you feel safe, your faith is going to stay small. But when you take risks, when you trust Him in ways that stretch you, you start seeing His power in action. Maybe it's stepping into a new opportunity, giving generously, or sharing your faith with someone. Every time you take a leap of faith, your spiritual confidence grows. You start to realize that God is truly with you, guiding you every step of the way. And spiritual warfare? It's real, and faith? That's what keeps you strong against doubt, fear, and all those attacks from the enemy. The Bible even says faith is our shield, Ephesians 6:16, protecting us from the lies and discouragement that try to bring us down. The enemy wants you to think that God isn't listening, that your prayers don't matter, and that you're alone. But when you hold on to faith, when you refuse to believe the lies, you start walking in victory. Strong faith isn't just about, feeling good. It's about standing firm, even when you're under attack. And if we talk about worship, it's one of the most powerful ways to build faith. It shifts your focus from your problems to God's greatness. When you take time to worship, whether it's through singing, praying, or just praising God for who He is, your spirit gets lifted. Worship reminds you that God is bigger than any obstacle. It fills you with hope, renews your strength, and deepens your faith. And even in those hard moments, choosing to worship can completely shift your mindset and bring you closer to God. Faith grows when you actually apply what you learn. Reading the Bible, listening to sermons, and hearing testimonies, that's all great. But if you never put those lessons into action, your faith stays shallow. The strongest faith, it's built through experience. When you actually live out what you believe, when you forgive, love, serve, and trust, you start seeing God working in real ways. Faith isn't just about, knowledge, it's about transformation. And the more you live by faith, the stronger it gets. And my beloved peoples, trials and struggles can also actually be a gift when it comes to faith. James 1:2-3 even tells us to consider it pure joy when we face trials because the testing of our faith produces perseverance. Now let's be real. No one enjoys going through hard times. But those difficulties, they refine and strengthen your faith like nothing else. When you've been through something and you've seen God bring you through it, your faith becomes unshakable. So instead of fearing challenges, start seeing them as opportunities for your faith to grow. Trusting God's love? That's the foundation of strong faith. A lot of people struggle with faith because deep down they question whether God truly loves them. But the more you grasp how deep, unconditional, and unchanging God's love is, the stronger your faith becomes. Faith isn't just about believing in what God can do. It's about trusting who He is. And when you're secure in His love, you don't have to fear the unknown because you know that no matter what happens, you're held by the one who never fails. At the end of the day, faith is a lifelong journey. It's not about being perfect or never doubting. It's about choosing to trust God even when things just don't make sense. Strong faith? It's not something you either have or don't have. It's something you build one step at a time. The more you seek God, the more you experience His faithfulness. And the more you experience His faithfulness, the stronger your faith becomes. No matter where you are in your journey, keep going, keep believing, keep trusting. Because the more you walk by faith, the more you'll see that God is everything He says He is.